Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the patrons, make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. So we are flying out the Harrier GR7, the most modern Harrier in the game. We are also using that overlay program that I already did some videos on it. That's the extra information that I have on screen. I have videos on it, you can check it out. And yeah, it is a very interesting aircraft actually. I wanted to check it out because it was actually changed. The BR was changed to 11.7, which I find very funny from Gaijin actually, because the MLD, the MiG-23 MLD, the MiG-23 MLA, the Mirage 2000C, they are all 11.3s. But a Harrier with no radar, with just 4 missiles, is 11.7. Kind of weird, I must admit. It is probably due to the air-to-ground capabilities of the aircraft, but still, it is funny. It's still one of those things that kind of reiterate how we need a better BR system, maybe a BR system that is divided between air and ground stuff. They already said that for now we won't see that, at least. And it's kind of impossible to actually do it. I don't know how true is that, but still, it is weird. You must admit that it is weird. But the aircraft itself, I think it's fine on 11.7 anyway, you know, even though that's a bigger problem that we need to talk about. The aircraft itself being 11.7, this particular aircraft itself, it's fine. I mean, the dogfight capabilities of this aircraft is amazing. You can beat almost anything on it. I really want to do a dogfight against an F-16 and a MiG-29 with it to see if it can actually kind of perform well. I guess some aircraft like the Mirage could lose very badly, so I wonder how it would be against the MiG-29 and F-16. But still, that would be the main focus of this aircraft, a dogfighting capability together, obviously, with the A9Ls. Because you only have 2 cannons with not a lot of ammo, as you see, 200 rounds of ammunition. It is a pretty good cannon, very fast and very different from the normal Aidens that we used to know. It is the 25mm. And it's not the main armament of the aircraft. I think the AIM-9s are the main armament. You get way more kills with the AIM-9s than with the cannons, especially due to the speed of the aircraft. That's one of the major problems, right? And as you see here, even with an 11.7 BR, we are facing a lot of 3rd generation aircraft, not a lot of 4th generation ones. And I wonder why. I mean, maybe the 12.0 is actually making everybody like go to a higher BR, or not go to a higher BR because it's just 12.0. It's the higher, the highest BR that we have. But it feels like matchmaking is actually working a little bit better, right? It's more divided, and the compression actually worked. I feel like every aircraft that you fly in 11.3 or 11.7, they all feel a little bit more like spaced on the matchmaking from the 12.0. You see 12.0 in the match, you see a lot of F-16s as you see here, but it's not the whole match and you're alone against all of these aircraft, right? Normally it's a lot of 12.0s against 12.0s, and sometimes some 11.7s and 11.3s, was most of the time like majorly just 12.0s. And when you are flying these 11.3s and 11.7s, you will see a lot of these matches. Like if there is 12 people in your team, you see like 8 to 10 on those BR ranges of 0.3 and 0.7, and then 2 to 4 at 12.0s. Of course, that's not a rule, but you tend to see more of that. So even though the Harrier GR7 got a new BR and a higher BR, it feels like a much better aircraft than some of the others, to be honest, actually facing higher BRs. I think it's just the level of dogfight of this thing, together with the amount of flares and chaff that you can take, it makes as a very survivable aircraft. You just have to be a little bit smart about it, but it's so many flares and chaff, and it's so nimble that you can avoid basically any missile that you want. And of course you will see some instances, as the first match that I did on this video, that didn't happen. But still, it's it's very easy to avoid missiles, and that makes it as the main thing. It actually made me consider as the main attribute to an aircraft to be actually alright to use. It's funny, but it is kind of that. If an aircraft is bad at killing targets, it doesn't matter too much if it actually can avoid the missiles and just stay alive. Eventually, you will get kills. And it's something that I never thought about it, which is very funny, actually, that this is a thing, right? So you will see aircraft that have a lot of missiles and it can kill a lot of people. A clear example is the MiG-23M, or even the J-35 FS, or the Saab 35 FS, the premium one. They only have 12 flares. So even though you have pretty good weapons for HBR and you can do a lot of things and you can dogfight, you feel like the aircraft is missing something, and it's just the survivability of it. It makes a ton of difference, a literal ton of difference. So yeah, I think that's why the Harrier is fine against this aircraft. And as you see, anyway, even if you are fighting a lot of 4th generation, you are killing a lot of people because of the dogfight capability, as I said, and survivability. But most of the time you will be facing F4s, MiG-23s, MiG-21s, J8s, you see some, Mirage F1s, you see some aircraft like that the Harrier can deal with it. The M9Ls are one of the most amazing missiles in the game, but I would tend to just, since it's the main armament of the aircraft, be aware you only have 4 of them, so be careful. Don't use them on head-ons. I try to use them sometimes in head-ons, but they're not as good as the R60M on a very close head-on. So I would say that the most amount of kills that you get from an A9L, that it's in the every aircraft that you fly, you feel that. It is mainly on rear aspect targets. Once you shot on that, you can actually make the IRCCM of the missile work. And then the missile is from certain distances, for example, like less than 1 kilometer or 1 kilometer and something. It is like really difficult, depending on the aircraft, especially aircraft with afterburner, which is most of the aircraft in this BR, to avoid such a missile. So there you can get at least on the bare minimum 2 kills. 3 kills normally, and if you get a little bit of luck and have trigger discipline, you will get 4 kills every match. The missiles are pretty good. Dogfighting capabilities make you make a turn very quickly, so that you actually can fire the missile very quickly. People are not normally expecting you to fire so quickly. So yeah, it's a very, very nimble aircraft, and it makes a ton of difference. It really does. So yeah, I'm not actually complaining, maybe for the first time, that our aircraft was increased in BR, because it was, of course, on the sense of increasing in BR compared to the other ones that weren't, so the MLD and the Mirage, as I said, just because it can take care of its own. You know, it's a pretty alright aircraft, and sometimes you can get to some types of down tiers kind of situations. It is really rare, and but sometimes it's not really a down tier. It's more like a very divided BR of having a lot of 11.0s and some 12.0s as well. So you are in the mix there, so you can get a lot of easy kills, MiG-21s and all sorts of easy targets for such an advanced aircraft, right? So yeah, hopefully in the future it gets the MAW system. That's the system that basically lets you know and basically automatically deploys flares, detecting missiles on your SIGs. That's a thing that the Harrier had in real life. Obviously, this is a very 90s, very modern version of the Harrier. So yeah, you can see that in some F-18s and some F-16s in the late 90s, and in the early 90s, the Su-27M had it. So Su-34 or 32 it was called, and yeah, many aircraft started to use that. So once we actually see those aircraft, these actually will probably receive that as well. So yeah, but overall, very cool aircraft. I think you should try it again. It feels different fighting these other aircraft. You are slower than them, so be aware of that. But in a dogfight, you can basically beat anything, and you have the range on the 9Ls, which are amazing. The IRCCM of it, the turning capabilities of the L, the Lima, are always pretty amazing, right? But you always need to be careful with flares, as you see right here. But anyway, yeah. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Harrier GR7. Do we need more advanced Harriers? Maybe the AV8B should be coming, the more advanced versions of the Harrier, American Harrier. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe. Try to hitting 50,000 subscribers until the end of the year. And I see you guys on the next one. So yeah, bye guys. See ya.